This podcast is brought to you by Penji. Penji is a creative subscription service that gives you access to pre-vetted, agency-trained creatives from all over the world. From graphic design to illustrations to social media management and web development, it's all included for one monthly price. It's time to say goodbye to the hassle of searching for top-notch creative talent. With Penji, you get quality and consistency delivered right to your inbox every day. Carefully crafted for you by humans. So meet your new creative team today. Head over to penji.co for more and enter the coupon code located within the podcast show notes.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Fully Managed podcast. Thank you, David, for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So today we are going to start with a game. I'm going to put you on the spot, and I'm going to see how much you love Philadelphia.
Not that much.
Are you ready? You should love it. You should love it because you're here, and
I'm just going to give all answers for different cities.
They will. Philadelphia will not be happy to hear that.
No, I'm ready.
The bunch is they're a very defensive crowd. But okay, so first easy one. First word you think of when you think of Philadelphia. Don't think,
love.
just love. That's good. Is it because of brotherly love, or you just think love? Oh, come on. That's really cute. Oh, you hate Philadelphia. But,
my first ad that I ever had, I guess, go to publish was for Yards Brewing. And love is in the air. Love is in the air. It's also in the ale.
I really love that, actually. That's
ale.
Really good.
They did like Philly loves or like love special ale back in the day. And they had just come out with it, and I had written like a billboard when I was at Red Tedimer. I'm like, oh, it's my writing on a billboard. So I got it tatted on my arm. I'm like, I'm a cool hipster now.
That's a dream, though. That's really amazing. Do you like Yards Brewing?
I do.
Okay, perfect. Because here's your next question: is what is your favorite place for a drink or a meal? If you don't say Yards Brewing, they're gonna get upset with you, and you're gonna lose all your loyalty.
No, I mean but that's. My favorite food place is Vernick in Rittenhouse.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that's still like super popular. I haven't been there in a little bit, but that's always been my favorite meal. Favorite place for a drink or a hang, and just good vibes. And I'm going to do this because I love the owner and manager, Mission Taqueria.
Oh, okay. I've been there before, but I've never been there for like, I guess, specifically a drink. I think I had been there for food.
And then can I add one more just because
yes.
The lore of it, Hop Sing Laundromat for their drinks and the speakeasy vibes. You've never been, you need to go.
No, yeah, what is this? One more time.
In Chinatown, on 10th and Race, because I used to live on 10th and Race, there is a speakeasy. It's behind a gate and there's just like a light outside. You got to look it up. It's not like hard to find out. They're not always open and they're only open at night. But it's called Hop Sing Laundromat. And so you go in and like you sit in a little foyer and the guy basically reads down your rules or reads down the rules of the place. No cameras, no this, no that. And then you go in and you have great cocktails, good conversation depending on who you're with. And then you leave.
I love that. I am going out for my birthday this Friday with my sister, and maybe we will investigate and see if it's open.
Make sure you have your ID. During COVID times, it was absolutely necessary that you had your COVID, proof of vaccination. But the other thing too is like there is a weird like dress code. So like you can't be wearing, if you're a guy, I don't think like you can have like baseball caps or like open-toed sandals or stuff like that on. So it's kind of like elitist in a way, but it's not. It's just they have certain sort of like standards or ethics of like, here's what you need to do to come in, and like they lay the law and like that's what it is.
I kind of like a dress code, like hot take, I guess. I think that like there's pompous dress codes and those are stupid in my opinion, but like I like a theme. And I hate when someone is like, I'm too cool for a theme. I don't like you if you're too cool for a theme.
No basketball shorts, no like cut jean shorts. Like
okay, yeah.
Else, like, you can walk in with jeans and like, regular shoes or sneakers probably. It won't be a big deal.
That's not pompous. That's just class.
Yeah, a little bit is fine.
Exactly. Okay, next, speaking of class, favorite cheesesteak spot.
Where was I just had one recently that, and can I Google real quick? Because I just had one and it's a buffalo chicken cheesesteak and it was fantastic.
Was it at Oh Brother?
No. And it was a little like, it was in like North Philly.
Ooh, okay. Carmela's?
Carmela's.
I've been there before. I really like that.
Buffalo chicken cheesesteak blew my mind. And I'm more of a like buffalo chicken cheesesteak guy than a cheesesteak. You've got enough. Like sure. I can only say what everyone else has probably already said at least 3 times, but Carmela's buffalo chicken cheesesteak. Yes.
Yeah, I feel like the more you have a cheesesteak, the more they kind of mesh together. Like they're not really. I like cheesesteaks with a twist more rather than like your staple original now like because they all kind of taste the same. What do you say?
Do you like Woodrow's? Have you done that?
I don't think I've ever been to Woodrow's.
They have
I'm getting a great material here.
They have a truffle whiz.
Interesting.
Very good. Yeah.
That sounds like a really funny mix of like the most like sketchy food ever with the most classy food ever. Yeah. I love that.
Give it a go. It's right on South Street. It's good.
I know Oh Brother is a chain, but that has been my favorite cheesesteak twist so far because they put like a horseradish mayo on it or something, and I really like that. I think it's a fun twist.
There you go. I haven't tried it yet, so I'll try Oh Brother.
There's a couple locations, and I think they focus on pizza, but they do make a cheesesteak, which is kind of weird.
I would also say if you're interested in anything food related, I get half of my information or like gems from pancakes and protein shakes. My friend, he's a food blogger. I say friend, where we've met once in person, but we, comment on each other's stuff daily, probably. But he's on Instagram. He's fantastic. And he, like, what I love about him is he does everything for the community. Like, takes no money. He's like, I'm not going to come for free food. Like, I'm going to pay for my food. And then he does a lot of stuff for he does a lot of stuff for the SPCA, and he's big into like pet adoption and all that stuff.
I love that because I follow an influencer that makes fun of food influencers, and I love that because I do think that it's like it's a little too big right now, but there are good ones, and the good ones are the people that actually care about their local community, and they're not like, let's go to this new pizza
place. Look at me. I'm going to show you 4 random videos, and I'm going to go 10 out of 10. Nothing about the menu. Nothing about the food. I'm going to order
30 things, and I'm going to take a bite of each, and I'm not going to pay.
See, it's interesting because like I would never want to be a food influencer or person, but like I absolutely love Anthony Bourdain, and I think it's because of him that you see a lot of this stuff because he traveled the world. But he like really covered so much. Like food was such a small part of his bigger picture. I feel like it was really just sort of like the Trojan horse into a bigger conversation.
And then you have people like Gordon Ramsay that have made yelling cool again.
I'm all for that. Like I love Gordon Ramsay, and but I also like my favorite show that he does is Master Chef Junior, where you get to see him sort of be like,
oh my God, he's
really
so nice. Person. Oh my God, it's the sweetest thing. It's the best thing ever. And also I'm convinced that these kids are smarter than the Master Chef adults. Like they're savants. Like they're something
so talented.
I've never met a smarter kids.
I would watch that show, especially because I'm like, all right, if there's like a 12-year-old that's cooking this, I got a chance. And then they make stuff. I'm like, nope.
Yeah, and then they're using like
flambéing and sautéing and.
I would burn down my house if I used anything that involved fire.
Kid does like start a fire, starts crying, and you see this dude that was just yelling at a kid, and he's now like consoling the kid. And I think it's that sort of like stark contrast that's just like super endearing.
No, it's incredible. Okay, I'm going to ask you one more question about Philadelphia, and then we're going to get into you because this podcast is about you and not Philadelphia as much as
I'm here for the conversation.
Me too. Okay. if you were to change something about Philadelphia, what would it be?
Oh, wow.
This one's hard because it feels like a betrayal.
No. God, I don't want to go there, but I feel like it needs Kensington.
Yeah, it is a place.
That's it. Like, I mean, that's what's on my heart. Like, I gotta say it. Like, because there are there's some really good food places out there. Mm-hmm. There are all those businesses. I think you have the L that goes out that way. So like that whole community, like, just stands to benefit so much by cleaning it up. And I know there have been efforts, and I don't have the solution to it, but that's the one thing that I would change.
I agree, and I have seen the city's funding model, and they definitely would rather push away a problem than actually deal with it. And so I completely understand. There is a group of people that are not being cared for and therefore are just continuously pushed into a smaller and smaller spot. And it is really upsetting to see, and it impacts the whole community. So
my favorite coffee shop and place to work from is out there, Cafe Roasters.
I love Cafe Roasters.
Tina, you say hi to Frankie, you say hi to Kang. Kang will call out your number and then really loudly, or when you're in the middle of a call, but we love Kang for that. But it's like, they're the nicest people. They treat everyone like family and friends when you're there. The food's incredible. The drinks, you have Vietnamese coffee drinks. Like, what other place has a whole cafe centered around like this unique style of coffee? Everywhere it's just like, oh, we've come up with our own special house sauce, or like, you know, lavender latte, but they're doing something completely different, and they're doing it so phenomenally well. And then they're also involved in like helping out the community, which is great.
I absolutely love it there. I had an old coworker that was like best friends with one of the women there. And I was introduced to it through him, and I was so happy. I love a good coffee place, but I love a Vietnamese coffee specifically. I remember.
And they have like, the setup is cool because they have like sort of like picnic table style setup in the back where you can sit down and do work. They have smaller tables, and then they have up front feels like a living room vibe. So like whatever vibe you're going for, you just want to hang out, have a coffee and a conversation, just go chill in the living room area. You want to get work done, go towards like the back and really hunker down.
I love the versatility. I love that there being different rooms as if it's like a house, but it's, you know, a place in which you can just chill out, work, do whatever, you know, you want. And I love that because it's also the separation of like, if you want to work there, if you want to go there with your friends, like there's different places for each.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, thank you for sharing all of your Philadelphia knowledge. I think you passed the test. But I want to hear about you. This podcast is about you. Please tell me more about yourself, your work, how you got to this point, and what you are doing right now.
Oh, well, now I'm doing a lot of consulting work, working with different brands, and I'm actually working with an agency. That's what I was telling you about before we started recording. But I started as a copywriter in advertising at Red Sedimer, did that for a year. I came from a background of doing like sales. I traveled the country selling fire resistant clothing. It's very odd, but I got to see like 70% of the country. So I did that for 2 years. And then, I got into, I had a friend that I went to college with, Steve Snyder, someone that you might want to talk to. He started his own agency as well. It's Parody Studios, I believe. Mm-hmm. But he would always like, we had class together in college, and he'd always like call me up or like always talk to me and be like, you need to get into advertising. I'm here at Red. Like, he was at Stick and Move before they got acquired by Red. But anyway, eventually he did enough convincing to get me to join him at Red Sedimer, and I loved it. It reminded me of the fun that I had working in advertising or ideation stuff in college when we had advertising courses together. So he left though, and then I found my mentor there, Jared Scott, another great individual. And he's been my mentor ever since. Steve is like a big brother to me in advertising. But after a year, I sort of felt like I really like writing. I don't know if I want to make my life writing. I miss the business of like working with people. And when I had done sales, I was constantly like, I was working with a lot of blue collar workers and really explaining products to them and answering their questions and helping them sort of figure out the best solution in terms of like what they were getting or how to order, all of that stuff. I didn't have that as a writer. I worked by myself for a year straight. Didn't have like a design partner or anything because I was like super bottom level. Just like grinding it out hard. And that's like, things do not come easy. And like when people come nowadays and like telling me like younger generation is soft, I'm like, oh, give them a chance. Let them grind it out if they want to grind it out. And, I had to do it. And it's not that because I had to do it, you have to do it. It's just you learn a lot. Like I had to learn to deal with a lot of rejection and take the pointers and find the sort of nuance and of like feedback, what is actual good feedback from, who I was reporting to for writing. And I was involved in a lot of different things. And like I would constantly press different people to like be involved. I think that's the other thing. When you're an intern somewhere, or just starting, you always don't want to like ruffle anyone's feathers. You don't want to like ask, you don't want to do like say too much or bother them. Like, because everyone's so focused. Now I'm on the other side. You're so busy. You're so worried about doing stuff that you forget about the other person or you don't have the time to reach out to them. But if they ask, I'll give them the time. So anyway, I left, I moved to the account side. And I sort of followed this career map that Jarrett had mapped out for me. So I learned the account side. While learning the account side, I picked up on strategy and narrative. So like brand strategy and brand building. I did that at a shop called 29 in Conshohocken. I also did this course up in New York for design thinking workshops while I was there because that was a big part of what we did. And another sort of mentor that I picked up along the way, Gary Kopervas. He's a strategist. He's a cartoonist, but a really smart guy who reads a lot. And so he got me on reading. He got me on like brand strategy and working in these workshops, all stuff that I like would ask questions and then start to like peel off of, his skill set and add to my own. And then, from there it was just like, you move from the account, you understand the strategy, and then it was really business development and growing from that point.
I think that's
eventually starting my own agency because COVID happened and the agency I was at was sort of falling apart. And I'm like, if not now, then when? It was a perfect opportunity. And so I did it.
I think that COVID has changed the trajectory of many people's working lives. And I think I'm kind of still deciding whether it was for the most part good or for the most part bad. But I think it was for the most part good because I think a lot of people, even if something negative happened to them, they found out something really important about themselves. And I think a lot of times it was for the better.
Yeah, you're talking to the wrong guy about a bad time in COVID. I got stranded in Tulum. So that was, my lease was up at like the right time. And I'm trying like everyone's remote. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm not renewing here because like we're kind of locked down. I don't want to be locked down in Philadelphia. So I'm looking like places like where can I go? And eventually landed on like, you can't drive into Mexico, but you can fly in. And literally it was like the last day that you could do it. I had flown in. It was me and one other person on the flight. We had 4 flight attendants and 2 pilots. I'm like, I'm going to cancel this flight. I already had my Airbnb like reserved for like months. I'm like, oh man, this is going to go wrong real quick. They flew the flight with the 2 of us. They did not let me sit first class though. I'll tell you that much. I'm still a little annoyed about that. But so I spent my time like quarantined in Tulum, Mexico, which is this like magical place. It's kind of overcrowded most of the time. But when I was there, it wasn't. There were like 200 people in this, beautiful paradise.
I'm extremely jealous.
Yeah, it was great. And like we got to know the locals because, you know, they had relied on tourism for so much of their life, and it just wasn't there. So it's like we got to know them. They got to know us. We would help them out. And we became this like super tight knit community. It reminded me of like high school almost.
Oh, what?
Beautiful. Like I eventually moved into a huge house that we probably would never be able to afford if it was not COVID. But like my one roommate is this like he was a big Wall Street guy. Another one was like a tech lawyer, and the other one was like a C-level finance person. And I'm just like, it was such an interesting group of people that I'm still like very close with.
What a very unique experience to have during COVID.
Yeah. COVID for me, and I hate to say it, but it was like highlight of my life. one of. And I'm so sorry to like anyone that like had a really tough time. Like I had COVID. I think I've tested positive 3 times throughout like COVID's like thing. So like I've dealt with it. I had it really bad one time. But outside of that, life was good.
I think that COVID was like a little bit of a blessing in disguise for a lot of people because unfortunately, yes, there are many bad things that happened to it, from people losing their businesses to many, many different ways of life that people had to adjust to. But I think that it was something so unique that no one has ever had the opportunity to have before that. Mm-hmm. And that is the fact that no one is working, with the exception of frontline workers and remote workers. And everyone can't go out. So like, I think the biggest problem that so many people have, like people with anxiety, mental health issues, whatever, blah, 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 is that they need to go out in order to enjoy their lives, or they need to do this, or they need to do that.
They don't know how to deal with themselves, or like time to themselves. And that's like huge. I learned that before COVID. So that's like, good. That was not an issue for me. Now, like one of the bad things that happened, the agency I was with, we were either going to lay people off, or we had a decision to make where it's like we could all cut our salaries by 50%. And then we laid no one off. And everyone unanimously agreed that's what we'll do. So no one's laid off.
Yeah,
but 50% is a huge cut.
There's so many people that are.
I was living in Mexico where it didn't affect me. Like it almost equaled out.
Yeah.
In terms of, you know, my cost of living and that's by the end of the year when it's like, are things going back to normal? We're not sure. I'm like, cool. I think, you know, all things considered, this is the right time for me to just try to do my own thing. You know, I see an opportunity with social media, especially now that everyone's remote. You see more people spending time on it and going there for everything: news, entertainment, boredom. And I'm like, brands and businesses need to be spending more time and more focus. It shouldn't be an afterthought. It should be where they're starting. Because they're probably going to find you on social media and then go to your website. Unless you're a B2B thing, but like that's a whole different world. But even if you're B2B, like, you know, anyone that works in any sort of industry, people are still on social media. It's still a great opportunity to connect with people. What you do on there, how you use it, it matters.
No, I completely agree. And I think that it's lovely to, you know, take advantage of, you know, a time like that and be able to come out having learned something, as well as, you know, being able to come out successful or happier with what you're doing for the future, which I think is what a lot of people really got out of that experience, which makes me happy because it's it was definitely a scary time, but it was also something that I think was a unique experience that I don't think any of us have had before, and we're able to just, you know, learn a lot about ourselves.
Right.
Which like a lot of people
That's
don't
like
think
one of the most important things.
yeah, a lot of people don't take the opportunity to do that. A lot of people don't take the opportunity to care about themselves. There was like this huge opportunity for people to genuinely like get to know who they are and like who they are without being around people.
Yeah. So that's like, if you want to be a good person, learn about yourself, I think first. You want to be a good partner, learn about yourself first. You want to be a good coworker, learn about yourself first. You want to be good at something, like, yeah, you do that thing through and through, and that can probably take you very far in terms of business. But in life is more than just business. So like for me, I know in my own sort of like personal journey, as I put work and time into myself, it was actually when I was at 29, I started like really getting into like learning about psychology when I was working with Gary, just understanding like the thought process and what sort of motivates people and their emotional drivers. And so I started doing like my own work and trying to understand myself. And then that just like parlayed into the work that we're doing for businesses and clients, because it's all tied to the same thing. It's all tied to, I consider advertising, it's like consumer psychology.
Yeah, of course. Psychology is so heavily involved in advertising, marketing, and if you're not including it in your thought process, then I think it's at a detriment to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
that helped me a ton.
Yeah, no, I think that
helped me a ton in terms of work, because of like when I would approach businesses and working on strategies and campaigns, I was really thinking about like, okay, well, like, how can we influence people to engage with this, you know? And it's different if you're talking B2B. It's like, well, what do they care about, and who are the people that we're talking to? You know, we talked about airlines, and in the beginning, we weren't recording yet, were we? When we were talking about airlines, and
no, we were talking about
we were talking about airlines before we got on, just so to fill people in. But like the psychology behind that campaign, because they were talking to men, so it's like you have to understand who you're talking to, and like, okay, well, what do they care about? And so that's always like, ever since I learned that, that's like where I start. Who are we talking to? Like, what do they care about? Try to learn the demographic and then worry about what you're creating. Not, hey, I got a great idea. It's this cool new flavor of ice cream. People are going to love it. It's so
yeah. Just naturally. I don't have to think about who would like it. We're going to
sell it in Alaska. Well, that's okay.
All right, it's pretty cold.
Yeah. How much ice cream do Eskimos eat?
Probably so much.
Probably not that much.
Well, what kind of, like, having delved into a more maybe a more thought out process, for lack of better phrasing, of like what kind of work you do, what is something maybe unexpected that you've learned that you weren't really thinking about before?
In terms of work or life, or what?
In terms of work.
Something unexpected that I learned. I mean, that's like every client I feel like that I've worked with. I'd never expected to understand what a physiatrist was. It's the specialist that connects your brainstem to your spinal cord.
Whoa. I didn't know there was
the nerves that connect your brainstem to your spinal cord specifically.
That's so crazy. I didn't know.
I had to write a 3-page pamphlet written by the nation's top physiatrist. And I'm thinking like, oh, I'm just going to write an outline for him, and then he's going to tweak it. And it's like, you know, we're helping them out. No, I wrote it, and it went out to 20,000 physiatrists across the country. So that's something that I didn't think that I would learn.
I guess I meant more about your process, but the fact that that's a doctor, one that I've never heard of, and the fact that there's 20,000 of them that I've never heard about is very, very fun fact to have shared.
I mean, don't quote me on 20,000. It might be 2,000. This was 10 years ago, so you know how the mind works. My process. I mean, I think that's the biggest, like where you start. You know, I think from the early days, I used to always think about like, oh, well, what's funny to me, or what do I think is, you know, a funny concept for this brand, not understanding what are they trying to do with the campaign? Like, what is their goal? Who are we talking to? Where is it running? So like really looking at like a big picture that's probably the biggest thing. Like, look at the big picture first and understand all of the components before you just start creating random ideas. It's a lot easier.
Yeah, I think that it is. It's strange because I think that a lot of marketing and advertising and just the whole field in general, like, is supposed to be consumer focused, but a lot of times we're not. You know, when you're going into it, you're just thinking, like, you have maybe an aha moment, or you have just an idea and you're like, let's just do this because it sounds like a good idea, but it's something that you're not keeping your audience centered in, you know, whether that will be successful or not. And that's the consistent, like, failure that I guess I see with campaigns sometimes is like, what does this have to do with who you're speaking to or who you're trying to reach? Who
the brand is and who's working at the brand, because that's the other thing. Is the brand more of are they risk averse? Because it could be a great idea, but it could be a risk for them. And then you're dealing with humans at the end of the day who have jobs and families, and everything's going well for me. And that's a great idea, but like, we have stuff that's working. If I take that chance and it fails, I could lose my job. Like, that's a real factor that you have to think about when you have great ideas that are untested.
Yeah, it's also, I think it's kind of a testament to like a good work environment too, of like facilitating trust and transparency, is that I think that with that environment, you have a better likelihood of being more successful in taking risks because you're actually willing to do so, and you're willing to trust the person that may be facilitating those risks, because, you know, if something fails, maybe hopefully not on epic proportions, maybe that's when you should think about it a little further. But if someone fails, it's like, okay, it's not because this person's inept or that they, you know, are bad at their job. It's that this just sometimes will happen with taking risks.
Oh, absolutely. You can have a great idea, but there are so many influential factors in terms of it working or not. Like, you could stress test it, you can market test it, you can do all of these things and like, oh, it's great. And then you put it out and I don't know, something could happen the day before, something could happen the day after, that could influence it. It just might not respond sometimes.
Yeah.
Or it might not hit, unfortunately.
And there could be like unbelievably unexpected circumstances that just lead to something not doing well. Like, just like poor timing that you could not have known anything about. Like, I believe there was something,
the world's largest gathering. Everyone signed up for it. Oh, can't wait for it. And it's like 3 weeks into COVID. So like, well, sorry.
Sucks.
Yeah, that's not happening anymore.
Yeah, there's so many things.
Much time. We had a website developed. We had signed acts that are going to perform. I mean, whoever thought Firefest, that, you know, or Firefly Island, whatever, who thought that was going to flop?
Who love the idea of Firefest. I think those case studies are kind of the best. I love the unexpected flops, as we talked about the airlines earlier. But there are things that, you know, it doesn't mean someone's incompetent because even a campaign when it epically fails, because sometimes there's factors that you can't test for.
The other thing too is removing some of the stigma around something failing or the knee-jerk reaction to get rid of people when something flops or fails. Personally and professionally, my greatest learnings have always come through failures. Yeah. You know, like, I was actually thinking about that last night, maybe, because I'm like, what if they ask about failures? And so I played sports growing up, and I was very good at sports all the way through college. But my very first race that I had, and I won a lot of races, but my very first race, I didn't win. I didn't come in second. I didn't come in third. I came in dead last. Oof. Like, dead last. My coach had to like walk and find me in the woods because like I was throwing up because I tried to sprint a mile, and that was dumb. But like, that just goes to show you, like, it put in my mind though that like, okay, I need to work harder. I need to learn. I learned that distance wasn't for me. Right. And that was like a huge learning though, because like that set me up for success. And then like I remember losing my first race after that, and I made it like okay, here's how I have to train. And I had great people around me that like helped me train. Brian Goodwin, I lost the 400 meters to you when we were like 12 years old, and then I set the city record. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah. I have no idea how I still remember his name, but it just popped in my head. And that is the person that, beat me. And then I made sure that when it mattered, I beat him. But like, that's in terms of campaigns and failure. If you have something that succeeds or it's okay, sure, you can look at all the metrics and you can replicate it. But having the insights from something that failed, right, and having the courage to take that chance. Like, if you're good, you're going to learn from it. Mm-hmm. If you're great, you're going to learn from it and apply it to what you do moving forward.
Exactly. That is something that's, I completely agree with that philosophy. And it is sad that unfortunately many work environments don't leave room for that possibility. I mean, if you fail, then fail. And even like, and failure is like not a great word either, because it's immediately like has this stigma around it, but it's like, there's epic failures in which you really messed up and you did something wrong that led to that you could have not done, and you should have known better for. And that maybe is ground for firing. Right. If it's something that, you should have known better, or like you could have, but when it's something that like you did everything in your power to make sure it was successful with what you knew at that time and it failed, then like you can only be better from that situation if you're someone that holds yourself accountable and wants to grow. Yep. And that's where you have the best workers, the best employees, the best partners, the best,
It's Google's Aristotle project. Are you familiar with it?
No, please enlighten me.
They I might get some of the details wrong here, but
it's okay.
They hired an outside consulting firm to come in and study their teams. And because some were performing really well, others maybe not so well. And they wanted to understand, what is the unique trait that the teams at work, like what is it that they do so well? Is it meetings at certain times? Is it, how much stuff that they're putting out, what they're working on. And what it essentially came down to was having a level of safety and security within the people that you're working with, so that they felt safe in sharing their ideas and giving feedback. And that led to more trust amongst the team members. And that ended up resulting in better work at the end of the day. The Google Aristotle project, you can look it up and that'll give you a much more thorough explanation than I did.
No, but that provides that was great. You did great at explaining that. But I think that, I think that if all professional environments had that kind of priority in like making
they should.
People feel comfortable taking risks and like doing something that's outside of the box, like there would be so many more successful brands.
Yeah. I don't think that there's much that's stopping people from doing that. It's if you know that that's how to get there, then you should work to get there. Mm-hmm. And that starts with hiring, but hiring is the whole thing in itself. It's not easy. It's not an easy thing.
Yes, especially with the worry about the younger generations, which I think is a little maybe unfair, but as being one of them. But I think that
I think the younger generation is going to be fine. I'm not worried about them too much. I'm not worried about you. You seem to be doing very well. I just think life is different, and we can't compare someone's life 20 years, later and be like, oh, well, this is what it was like when I was there. Okay. So cool. That's not what it's like now.
Well, yeah, boomers thought millennials were lazy. Millennials will think that Gen Z is lazy. Gen Z will think that Gen Alpha is lazy. That's just the way it goes.
Approach is incredibly flawed. Look at it as, here's what was different when I was your age, and here's how I think you might benefit. like have a conversation instead of just making a comment. I mean, that's what social media and trolls are for. You want to do that, go do that. But if you actually want to help people and have them learn and help society as a whole, like have conversations, bring something to the table. That's something that I think, I learned along the way is managing up in agencies and work. When there's an issue, don't just bring up, hey, there's an issue. Here's the issue and here are some potential solutions. Mm-hmm. Bring the solutions to the table. And then that person might be like, okay, well, like, what are the pros and cons with those solutions? And you can sort of role play out what that is. And then they allow you to take a chance and do whatever you think. That's how you grow. That's how you train someone effectively.
I think that was a perfect note to end on because it was super perfectly. Yeah, it was all encompassing of everything we've been talking about this whole time. And we are over time, but I think that was because we had a really lovely conversation. I had a great time doing this. I'm going to be so honest. Thank you for talking with me about Philadelphia so much. Thank you for talking with me about, professional philosophy. That's kind of maybe actually my favorite topic over Philadelphia because there's so many, I think that there's I'm seeing a lot of hope for, changing the work environment or like the acceptable work environment specifically in the agency space. And it's making me kind of happy. I think that for a long time, there was this expectation of like rise and grind kind of thing. And I think that people are kind of realizing more like a work-life balance and like how to treat people better. And I'm happy to see that trend. And I love talking about this because I think that there's so much research done to prove that, being kind and like actually understanding of people's situations and how to treat them is, better for everyone.
Absolutely. I will still say, I think there's a time for grinding every once in a while.
Or like late night here and there
there are moments that I look back fondly on, like the close relationships that you build with like coworkers, sort of going through. It's very much like sports. When you go through something with a bunch of people and you work really hard together, you get a lot more out of it in the end. But you can't do it all the time.
Yeah, it's like fraternities going through hazing. Brothers
hate.
Forever.
Don't hate.
Don't do that. But it does work with fostering relationships. You go through a shared trauma.
There's reasons why they do it. They just take it to the extreme.
Yeah, maybe a little too far, but thank you again so much for being such a lovely voice on this. I really appreciated talking to you. This was a great conversation, and I'm just so happy to have had you on. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shannon. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And thank you for everyone listening. We'd be nothing without you. Please check out David in the description and hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Please check out other episodes as well and get to learn like I get to every time. Thank you.
You've been listening to Fully Managed, brought to you by Penji. Check out the show notes to learn more about today's guest. And to learn more about Penji, the human-first creative subscription service, head over to penji.co. And by the way, if you're still listening, it would mean the absolute world to us if you were to share this podcast with a friend and, of course, subscribe.